Romans. Today may be the beginning of a new era in Roman history. Julius Caesar, General Pompey, and well-known politician Crassus are currently in a meeting discussing the terms of the First Triumvirate. As you may already know, Caesar is a skilled politician and master of propaganda who was a talented soldier and speaker in the East. General Pompey rose to power through military victory, political skill, and administrative genius. Marcus Licinius Crassus is a wealthy politician of the Roman Republic and has a reputation for being greedy and ambitious for military fame. Now let's hear what they have to say.
Do you agree to the terms laid before you?
I agree, as long as you marry my daughter.
We must agree to support each other's political agendas.
Soon after the defeat of Crassus, the triumvirate starts to fall to pieces as Caesar and Pompey start fighting over Crassus's power. The two great generals and politicians are fighting to gain more power than the other. Attempting to avoid further conflict, the Senate ordered that Caesar dismantle his army. However, he refused. They claimed him a traitor and national enemy, and civil war between Pompey and the Senate versus Caesar and the ordinary people of Rome broke out. Breaking news: huge defeat of Pompey the Great by Caesar in the Battle of Pharsalus. Although Pompey's army is large, the general knows that Caesar's is more experienced, so he attempted to starve the opposing army, who were forced to regroup in the after-battle. Pompey ordered his army to wait until Caesar's forces were close enough as to tire them out. However, Caesar's soldiers were experienced men were smart enough to know to stop and regroup. Their javelins frightened the cavalry horses so much that complete disorder broke out, and Caesar's armies could destroy Pompey's. The rest of Pompey's men were first to retreat, and Pompey the Great fled to Egypt. Caesar has finally defeated Pompey at the Battle of Munda. We now go to him live as he discusses his new reforms to Rome.
Plan to expand the Roman Empire into newly found colonies in different territories. I want to give land and opportunity to any poor Romans who choose to move to these new areas. In addition to that, one of my main goals is to evenly distribute land, decreasing the amount of power the wealthy has and allocating some of that land to the poor. I believe colonials should have more of a role in the Roman Empire, which is why I will be granting them citizenship. Lastly, I will be decreasing the amount of power the Senate has and putting it to a lower advisory council. Thank you.
So, what's the plan?
Well, we should make the attempt as he goes along Sacred Way, which is one of his favorite walks, or just maybe draw lots for someone to push him from the bridge, or for someone else to run up and kill him.
That's okay. But I have a better idea. Kill him while he sits in the Senate, where he will be by himself since non-senators are not admitted, and where we can hide our daggers beneath our togas.
Julius Caesar, beware the Ides of March. Brutus.
We'll be right back after a message from our sponsors.
Have you ever wanted to lounge around like an ancient patrician in Rome? You can, with drinking Bacchus wine, handcrafted in the streets of Rome. It's so easy, a plebeian could do it. Cheers. Bacchus wine, brought to you by the gods of Rome.
Reporting to you live after the untimely death of our dictator, Julius Caesar, is reporter Amelia Cantius.
Although news broke of Julius Caesar's untimely death, we now have more details on the murder. Everybody knows that since Caesar's new reforms after his defeat of Pompey, people have become uneasy about his leadership. Many feared he had taken away their beloved republic, especially after he proclaimed himself dictator for life. Although beloved by some and seen as a divine ruler, others saw him as vain and arrogant. A conspiracy developed between four unlikely alliances: Gaius Trebonius, Decimus Julius Brutus Albinus, Gaius Cassius Longinus, and Marcus Junius Brutus. Many other unhappy citizens of Rome joined in. We now go to Marcus Junius Brutus, who is a Roman statesman and politician, to find out more about their plan to murder the Roman leader.
Welcome back. Next, we'll be interviewing Marcus Junius Brutus, the murderer of Julius Caesar.
Talking with me now in an exclusive interview is Marcus Junius Brutus, the murderer of Julius Caesar. So, Brutus, what made you commit such a heinous act against a friend of yours?
Well, Amelia, I'm a strong believer in the Republic of Rome and saw that I needed to put the needs of my country before the needs of my friend. Julius declared himself dictator for life, which is strictly against our government and was the driving force of this glorious empire into the ground, so I decided to act. Would you call that fratricide or patriotism?
Well, Brutus, I wouldn't really know what to call it. Probably just murder. So, what was the plan?
Well, we never met openly, but we assembled a few at a time in each other's homes. There were many discussions and proposals, as one might be to expect, while we investigated how and where to execute the design. Some suggested that we should make the attempt as he was going along the Sacred Way, which was his favorite walk. Another idea was for it to be done at the elections during which he had to cross the bridge to appoint the magistrates in the Campus Martius. Some also said that we should draw lots to push him from the bridge and for others to run up and kill him. But the majority opinion favored killing him while he sat in the Senate, where he would be by himself since non-senators would not be admitted, and where many conspirators could hide their daggers beneath their togas. This plan won the day.
Wow, how devious of a plan that was. Did Caesar have any last words? And if so, could you please elaborate on them?
His last words, to be exact, were, "Et tu, Brutus," which means even you, Brutus. Of course I was shaken by these words. But basically, he was saying that my killing of him was the ultimate betrayal. But I had no choice but to act for the common good.
Thank you for your candor, Brutus. Now, this concludes our interview with Brutus. Send in your opinions. Was this murder justified, or was it just a cruel act of jealousy? Let us know. Thank you for your time.
Now that Caesar is dead, there are two main contenders to head the glorious empire, Mark Antony and Octavian. Mark Antony is a victorious Roman general, brilliant orator, and crafty politician, and is probably most well known for always being at Julius Caesar's side on the battlefield. Octavian, the grandnephew of Caesar, has arrived in Rome and head of a private army that may number as many as 10,000 men, and now the two are at odds. Now we have arranged for Mark Antony and Octavian to each tell why they believe they are qualified to lead the Roman Empire.
In early 44, I returned to Caesar's inner circle as a consul. In June of 44, I was granted governorship of several regions in Gaul. My wife, Fulvia, and brother, Lincus Antonius, had ignited the Perusian War by leading an uprising against Octavian. I then returned to Italy to make amends with Octavian, and when Fulvia died, I married Octavia, Octavian's sister, to make peace. We proceeded to Athens. There I was named the new Dionysus, the Greek god of wine, immortality, and happiness. Over the next few years, Octavian and I had frequent disputes, but still agreed to the Treaty of Tarentum to renew the triumvirate for 5 more years. Octavian's masterful general and naval tactician had effectively blockaded Cleopatra and I off the western coast of Greece, which forced me to employ my fleet in a desperate attempt to break the blockade. In the ensuing Battle of Actium on September 2nd, Octavian crushed my forces.
In 44 BCE, I was studying in Dalmatia when the word of the assassination of Caesar arrived. When I went to Rome, I learned that in Caesar's will, I had been adopted by Caesar and named his heir. I arrived in Rome in charge of a private army that numbered approximately 10,000 men. That newfound support set me at odds with Mark Antony, Caesar's close ally and the head of the Caesarian party, bent on punishing the followers of Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius Longinus. After a period of tension, Antony and I reconciled, set about destroying the forces of the anti-Caesarian faction, and then purged their supporters at Rome and elsewhere through a series of bloody proscriptions. The alliance between Antony and I could not last, so I set about building a base of support for myself among the Romans, because I knew eventually Antony and I would go against each other in battle. I restored order. I then associated myself with the traditional Roman values and began to depict my enemies as lawless, foreign, and corrupt. Finally, I began to agitate openly against Antony, whose involvement with the Macedonian Egyptian queen Cleopatra VII denounced as un-Roman. Soon, Antony and I engaged in open hostilities. The Battle of Actium took place in 31 BCE. Antony and Cleopatra's forces were narrowly defeated, and the next year, Alexandria was taken by my forces.
Tell us who you want to vote for, Mark Antony or Octavian. We'll be right back after this message.
Have you ever wondered what the freshest and finest fruits taste like? Have you ever wanted to taste one of the delights from the gardens of the goddesses of Rome? Well, now you can. Coming to you from Bacchus Wine Products is the Bacchus Red Grape. It's so easy, a plebeian could do it. Octavian is now the sole ruler of the Roman world, but he faces a new problem. How can he avoid the fate of his uncle and adopted father? He now occupies a similar position to that enjoyed by Caesar just before his assassination, the undisputed victor in a round of civil war. He now has no rival in Roman society, but looks like a king, a despicable figure in Roman political philosophy. How can Octavian maintain his position in Roman society while avoiding assassination attempts and incessant revolts among his subjects?
Thank you, Amelia. My new place in the Roman political hierarchy is both traditional but also unprecedented. Beginning in 33 BCE, my unique powers will be legitimized as a combination of the powers held by various Roman officials in previous periods. The difference now is that those powers were united in the hands of one very special Roman official, the Principus Senatus, or the first man of the Senate. I am not a king, as my propaganda suggests, but merely one of many highly respected and powerful Roman aristocrats. In any case, the vast powers I now wield are retained only for the good of the state, not for my own benefit. In 27 BCE, when all the crises of the state had passed, I had approached the Roman Senate and tried to relinquish all of my powers. The Senate insisted that I keep my powers and maintain the public order. The Senate then bestowed upon me the honorific title Augustus, which, as you may know, has not only secular but also religious connotations. After that point, I will have no more power than any other senator, but no one will precede me in authority. I am the Roman most able to maintain the public order that has been so frequently and disastrously shattered before my claim to power. The men and women of my generation have seen a seemingly endless cycle of civil war and bloodletting, a cycle brought joyously to an end by myself and my closest advisors. Under my reign, the Roman world will grow strong and amazingly rich. My people will enjoy the benefit of a long peace, hopefully made possible by my presence because I am a strong Roman executive who can maintain public order and rule of law.